I'm feeling a little cranky tonight.
And can I?
No good reason.
Can I make it my fault, please?
You can. I mean, you can, and I'm sure by the end of the night it will be.
You know, I'm late and feel bad, and someone has to pay. So why shouldn't it be
exactly?
You?
As long as you're beating yourself up, let's just transfer.
I just want to say one thing. Are we on? Is it? You know this one? Is it Rolling Bob?
No.
You know that one?
No.
Is it Rolling Bob? It's from Dylan.
Oh.
Do you know this one? Oh, I'm glad. Thank you on behalf of the group, and I hope we pass the audition. You know that one?
That is a weird junior high production of Let It Be.
Yeah, at the end. And then he goes, Johnny Death Tape and the Death Aids. Lola's lost her lunch. Something wrong with my voice.
Phase 1 in which Doris gets her out.
Yeah, so now, my whole childhood, I just realized something.
I dig a pygmy.
Right.
Yeah.
That's always London, right? I dig a pygmy. First of all, you can't say pygmy now. So even going backwards.
Yeah, you can say pygmy.
I think you can.
Pygmies are a thing.
But we were talking the other week about the arrangements. I don't think it was on the show. It was driving. That you didn't like the arrangements from All Things Must Pass that much.
I did not.
You did not.
I did. I thought the songs were better than the records on that album.
And don't forget,
I did not like the Wall of Phil Spector on a lot of the songs.
This is Phil Spector. Who knows how many people he had tried to shoot by then?
Exactly.
You know I'm not even saying he tried to shoot. I mean, it sounds plausible, the thing he says that happened where the lady came over. When people, a lot of times, a lady will come over and they'll kill themselves. It just happens,
right.
Josh. If I had $1 for every time that happened at a frat party, I'm the bad guy?
Right. I can't even remember who I heard talking about him not long ago, but just going, well, it kind of had to happen. He was waving guns around all the time.
He was always waving guns around. But I don't understand the waving guns around. There's nobody who waves guns around who's in a good mood or doesn't have an issue, right?
At least the issue part.
Yeah.
I think for some people, the waving the guns around is the thing that puts them in a good mood.
Well, the only person I would exclude from this rule would be
Yosemite Sam?
Hunter S. Thompson.
No, that wasn't good either.
No, but it sounds good in the written page.
Yeah, maybe.
You know what I'm saying? I got over at Hunter S. Thompson, and he goes, because I figure a lot of the things in not Hell's Angels, Las Vegas, Fear and Loathing Las Vegas, there's things he actually did.
Maybe.
So he goes, as your attorney, I advise you to do the LSD. Right, that he had. I don't remember the book, but it was a really great book. I did love that book.
He didn't remember it either, if that's any sense.
I know, but he's one of those guys, he was a loose cannon.
Yes.
And you go, yeah.
That's how he was actually, his ashes were fired from a loose cannon at the...
Is that true?
Yes.
Did he shoot somebody? No.
No, but he...
But he...
I mean, he might have shot somebody. I can't say for sure.
Well, what's his name killed his wife by shooting an apple on her head.
Right.
And that's, it's not Edgar Rice Burroughs.
No.
It's William Burroughs.
It is. But you had a little mnemonic device going there.
It's not Edgar Rice. That's hard.
Tarzan. Edgar.
I don't come from the borough of Queens. Oh, that was bad. All right, now listen to me. Listen to me and listen to me good. I'm working on a new fake laugh. What do you think of that?
I like it.
Okay.
That's my fake affirmation.
Funny. Say something funny. I'll see if I can do something else.
I can't. Can't do it.
How about that?
No, that's choking.
How about something like a crybaby laugh?
I think you need the element of surprise.
Haw haw.
No.
I've been singing hee ho all week long. Hey ho. Ha ha ha.
Out loud in stores, I hope.
Well, no, because you caused me pain this week.
Oh, good. I mean, I'm sorry.
No, because you caused me pain because I was trying to think of myself, what possible justification would I ever have to have someone overhear me sing as a way of getting more comfortable singing? That would never be.
The weird part to me was the pride you were taking. Like, it was a breakthrough that you're now singing in stores.
No, the breakthrough is that I'm singing like in showers and things like that.
Yeah, the shower's great place.
The shower's great, but it shouldn't be in stores.
Sanctioned singing arena. The shower.
What's that?
That's a sanctioned singing arena.
It is. And, but I don't do fakey, like you do it like you're in a 40s movie, right? Ba 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 doo ba 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 zing zoo.
Yes, I do. I walk down the cereal aisle going, hello, my baby. Hello, my honey.
Do you realize that this week I learned that my parents, my grandparents came here on the concept of 23 Skidoo. That's how they got here. And did you ever look it up? And do you know what it means? And I'm very happy to tell you if you don't.
I'd love to hear.
Okay, it means get out while the getting is good.
Okay.
And that if the Kindlers have a crest,
It's 23 Skidoo.
it's 23 Skidoo. When did they leave?
Do you know what the 23 is?
I'll never read anything that's online that has a definition.
I assume it's the same Latin root as skedaddle.
Oh, I thought you meant Y23.
Yeah, well, I'm saying I like skidoo sounds like, you know, get 20. Skidoo has an almost onomatopoetic quality.
It does. I always thought it was no. I never knew that before. I always thought it was, hey, 23 Skidoo, Daddy-O. I didn't know what it meant.
Yeah, it was like something you say before you do the Charleston in a fur coat.
And also, when I think of the Roaring '20s, all I can think of is the Roaring '20s. That's all I can think of.
Just the phrase.
I just like the Nickelodeon, and the people are dancing. That's not the song from the '20s, but they're dancing down the line, and the Siegfried Follies, and here's the thing: these idiots.
The Siegfried Follies, where tigers eat vaudeville performers.
Is that the wrong Follies?
Ziegfeld.
Ziegfeld Follies.
Siegfried would be the
Ziegfeld Follies.
act.
Here's those idiots, right? They're roaring and they're doing this. Those idiots are going to be, every one of them is going to jump out of a window in 5 years. They're jumping around and, oh, nothing, what could go wrong? How about having no insurance on the bank, you stupid idiots?
So your version of history is like 5 newsreel clips.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's the Roaring '20s.
Hello, my baby. Put another nickel in. Once I built a railroad, made it run, made it race against time. Wah, 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 wah.
Maybe women should vote. Okay.
Potato.
It's Andy. Well, you know, I started to listen. I'm going to be honest with you. Normally, I try to skirt the issue.
Yeah.
But I started to listen to this hardcore history because everybody has told me how great hardcore history by Dan Carlin is.
Okay, is this a podcast?
Yes, and this guy, I'm certain is a genius.
Okay.
But he said, when I was in philosophy class in school, or something, my teacher said something about magic. And I said, what do you think about magic? I said, well, it doesn't exist. And he goes, right, but the people thought it existed. And so they believed it. Anyway, he was using it as an example. So all of a sudden he goes, he doesn't believe in that. Like, I believe in the magic. You know, it was magic. I also believe in the field of magic. Because if that doesn't exist, why are there so many people at the, well, not that many people, but why is the comedy, and what is it called? The comics, the Laughing Hat. What's it called?
What the fuck
Magic
are you
Castle.
talking
The Magic
about?
Castle.
Okay.
Yeah. If there's no magic, how do they have the magic? There's an actual castle with
Okay.
magic.
All right.
Okay. I'm sorry about all that, but that could be good if I'm doing my flight.
Well, get to his point.
What was that?
Whoever you're mimicking, the history guy, you went into his magic rant.
Yeah.
So what was his point that you're trying to poorly make?
His point was, I don't know exactly what. Like he was saying, there's like the fake magic things, which we can all agree on are parlor games, or the guy who reads your mind.
Right.
Does anyone have a grandmother here? Oh, I had a grandmother. Those are parlor tricks and games. So, but I didn't know if he meant that or he meant there's no truth to religion, or I didn't know what he meant, but it got me nervous because I wasn't getting as into the world's greatest history things as I should. Everyone loves this guy. I should love this guy.
Yeah, but you thought this was an atheist preamble.
That's what I'm worried about.
Yeah.
So now I want to look him up. I want to look up Dan Carlin, hardcore history, and if I hear that I don't want the history through the eyes of an angry atheist.
Well, I think maybe you just zip ahead 5 minutes. How about that?
The point he was making could be that throughout the ages, there have been people who have said what they've done is magic.
Right.
Right?
Could have been.
But
no, you just had to go off on a Kindler head rant.
No, but maybe our listeners, we have listeners, they could help. They could weigh in. You've not heard of the guy and don't even know what I'm talking about.
I don't. But if everyone's listening to it, you know I'm right there.
Now, I had another thing I was supposed to bring tonight, but as you know, I left my phone at home.
Yeah.
And what I was going to bring, I had something for the halftime show. And I don't have it. Now you're saying bring it in next week, but I don't know if you want it next week even. What it is, it's the Australian guy doing a commercial for dress pants, yoga pants.
I'm not going to put someone else's pod on our pod.
Okay. Well then, what if I repeat what the line is?
Okay.
Will you teach it to me in Australian? They look like dress pants, but they aren't. They're yoga pants. They look like dress pants.
They look like dress pants,
but they aren't. They're yoga pants.
They're yoga pants.
How come I can't get the... You see, I thought it would be yoga would be different. Yoga's normal. Yoga.
Everything else
pants.
revolves around
but
yoga.
It has pants.
Now it's like a speech therapy class.
7 times in a row I had to listen. I listened to, they look like dress pants, and it's not even, but they aren't. But they aren't. But they ain't. It's not, almost like he's saying ain't, but they aren't. It's something they say in Australia.
Okay. Huh.
So don't bring it in next week, I would say, right?
No. Because you'll end up saying it 150 times more.
Let me tell you, okay. Let me just tell you one more time in English what it is. They look like dress pants.
They look like dress pants.
But they're not. They're yoga pants. And the product is absolutely crazy because the product is these yoga pants that you could substitute. You could fool someone into thinking that they're dress pants. First of all, I don't know what yoga pants are. That you only do yoga in them? Or is that what they wear in the UK?
No, they were pants that were originally discovered in jellyfish.
Oh, man. Oh, that jellyfish. Jellyfish, if you think about it.
They look like pants.
You know how
see,
smart...
now I'm doing Boston. I can't... You broke me.
Look how smart jellyfish are. Just look in the evolutionary scale.
Absolutely.
Look how far they've come. They're still greasy, grimy. They're not necessarily bottom feeders. They're not even that good.
No, they're top feeders.
They're top feeders. You come out of swimming, and you got jellyfish attached to your spaduka. Spadanka. I have many stories for you.
I was wondering if there was a third Denka.
Bazinka.
Okay.
And you can either you can go with your week or you can go with, you can call me Al. You could ask me about my car. I had my car. I found a good mechanic. Not only is he a good mechanic, I think he might be the best mechanic I've found.
Of course you think that.
Now, I don't want you to feel bad, but you didn't recommend anybody. But the people you did recommend with not that good a recommendation, I'm not going to say their name. They were not that good, but that was 3 years ago. But you weren't enthusiastic about them. You say you have not found a good mechanic in the area. You go to the dealer, don't you?
I go to the dealer mostly.
You go to the dealer like an old Jew who has it all. My wife almost cried when the dealer started ripping me off at Toyota. They go, bring it in for the first $5,000. Nothing. Hey, it's on us. We'll see you at the 1,000. Get out of here, you knucklehead. Then all of a sudden, it's thousands of dollars.
Yeah. My car hasn't broken down much.
I also realized another thing. We talked about Firestone last year, and I realized the reason why your money on your card was spent more wisely. It was like my new mechanic, the guy I really like, said the cars, and I kind of knew this, but the cars in the 60s and 70s were built horribly.
Yeah.
And they were just built terribly. And so I was trying to get a car fixed that I shouldn't have been trying to fix. I shouldn't have been in 1979 putting more money.
Are we going back to the Country Squire now?
Ford Country Squire wagon. I put in about $5,000 in the new transmission.
You put $5,000 into a Country Squire wagon?
Yes.
Wow.
But here's how I did it.
Into a $2,000 car, I'm guessing, at the time?
It don't make me sound that stupid, but it's certainly... What else could I couldn't have used my Firestone card to buy my porta pot. Not a porta potty. My porta studio.
No.
But somehow I rolled...
But you could have used the credit you achieved by having a Firestone card to get another card.
And that's what I did.
At a bad rate.
At a bad rate. And then they said, hey, idiot, you know what would be fun? Why don't you pay off that other hot Firestone card you don't like? 0%. For a day and a half till you sleep until the clock strikes 7, and then you'll pay more.
So you were a schnook, is what you're saying.
I'm a schnook, but I'm so happy now because I have found a mechanic. So, do you want to hear the story of my latest car problem?
Well, I don't know. If you have a good mechanic, it doesn't sound like a very good story.
No. There's a story before it.
Okay, then yes.
Okay, driving to therapy because if you don't drive, exactly.
Right.
This is where I want you to punch up everything I'm doing. Can you punch that up too?
Yeah.
I drive to therapy because therapy's not going to drive to me or something like that.
No,
but
okay.
funny.
Yeah. Okay.
And I stopped to get my Adderall.
Yeah.
And when I come back in after the Adderall, not after taking all the Adderall, but putting it in my pocket,
Right.
I start trying to start the car. Nothing. Now these are the questions I would be asked over the next hour. Do you hear a click? What do you hear? I don't hear a thing. I don't hear this. What does a weak battery sound? That's right. None of that. So the triple...
I'm not done.
The AAA guy comes, and he says, your battery seems to have a lot of juice in it.
Yeah, and you said thank you.
Yeah, but I'm still not starting. He goes, well, how about... Because then we started... I couldn't hear anything. We're supposed to be hearing a click. But what I didn't find out from the end of the adventure was, what would the click mean? Does it mean the starter's going? Or the starter is engaging and must therefore be the battery? I don't know. What do you think as a car? This is a know-nothing.
I would think that there might be some problem in the connection between the ignition and the starter.
Right. So, the tow truck guy recommended that I go...
Maybe the solenoid had something to do with it.
I remember that word. I certainly know that word.
I know that word because when I had my first shitty car, I used to have to touch a screwdriver to the solenoid in order to start it sometimes.
That car, that was the only downside of that Chevy Vega. Wait, you had to do what?
There was I had to make a connection with a screwdriver on the solenoid in order to get it started sometimes.
And where would the other side of the connection go? To your brain? I mean, I don't even understand it. The screwdriver led to what?
To some wire. It was like touching a wire.
You could have died.
No, I got good at it.
Not.
I got good at it.
Oh, that's always a. If your mother warned you when you were a kid, be careful. You say, "Don't worry, I'm good at it. I'm good at avoiding being killed." So he goes, "Well, I think it's." He says, "I think it's this. I think it's the alternator." Because your starter, but I don't know why he didn't think it was the starter. So I went to the other.
He said, I think it's the alternator, but I'm going back and forth on it.
Alternatively, he said.
Yeah.
I said, look, give me a direct answer, current.
You didn't say that.
I said, give me a direct and current answer. So he recommended this other mechanic, and this other mechanic put in a new alternator.
Okay.
And by the time I got scared because he said because if the alternator doesn't work while you're driving, the car will stop, he said.
Yeah.
So when I got to back home to my real mechanic who I was supposed to have gone to in the first place and I was avoiding, he said that he didn't know he doesn't even know if it was the alternator, but it definitely was the starter. But he said it's not a good idea to get a recommendation from the tow truck driver.
Right. I think that's probably true.
Would you know not to do that?
I would not take a tow truck driver's mechanic recommendation.
Because of a possible kickback.
I mean, I might in a strange town just because I'm fucked.
Yes.
But, yeah.
I never think of that. I never think this guy gets a taste. This guy gets a little honey. That guy gets a little taste.
Yeah. But you ended up with a good mechanic or no? I don't know.
Well, the mechanic...
the person who put in the alternator fucked you over is what you're saying?
Well, we'll never know. We'll never know.
Okay,
but
right.
the guy,
that's the rub.
If you listen to my mechanic, who had nothing invested,
let me guess, the last guy sucked.
No, his point was. That's why I can't take his side. But his point was that there was definitely a kickback between the tow truck driver.
Right, that I believe.
The only mistake I made was, but he said, you know what? That guy put a brand new. He told me how long have you had your car? I said, I have 100,000 miles. He goes, all right, you should put in a good alternator then. This is the guy at the first station.
Right. So you got a decent alternator out of the deal.
At a really good price, he said. He said he could not match that price.
All right. So
I have an alternator. Then he put the starter in, and then it's just unbelievable. Everything is back to where it was.
That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
So you went to a place to get your car fixed, and you got your car fixed.
Well, I know, but
that's amazing.
It's something that
is a fantastic tale.
Now you work at the garage. How come what's wrong with my voice? I'm losing my voice. Why?
I don't know.
Josh?
I don't know.
J. Elvis.
Yes.
He, I know you don't like to talk about things outside of the thing, but you came over my house. You threw me up against the wall.
I never have been to your house. Dude, right there,
that's what the reason was.
Yes.
Okay, I ran around the corner. I was going to the store like I normally do.
Okay.
Out from nowhere, here comes J. Elvis Weinstein.
Okay, now it's true.
Tackling me.
Yes.
He says, my name is not Josh. It's J. Elvis. And if you ever call me Josh again, I'm going to punch you in the face. It's so unlikely.
Isn't it unlikely?
Yeah.
It just seems unlikely, especially since I go by Josh, pretty much.
I meant to thank Marin. I haven't thanked Marin. You thanked Marin.
I thanked him on Twitter, but that might have just been self-serving.
I need to text him or do something like that.
But that was fun. We went and did Mark Maron's show the other day.
Well, we did say that we did this already, right?
We said we were going to do it last week, and sure enough, we did.
Oh boy, I killed, and I kept trying to sabotage Josh.
Yeah, and it worked.
It worked.
I think so.
It worked in the sense that you didn't have fun. Because that's what would happen do you think comedy duos would always get into the thing of like that at some point they resented each other, so I can't imagine.
I think every comedy duo ends up presenting each other, and I'm sure that's our future.
Well, I don't think you'll hate me like Dean hated Jerry Lewis.
No, I don't think so. I
possible.
think that ship would have sailed by now. No, I think, I had fun doing the thing. I think we did learn that we're really bad at describing our show to others.
And then I came home, and didn't I do a description of the show?
You did, yes, which was funny. Not really useful, but
it isn't. It is good. I bet you can pull from there and make your own bio.
But really, the big takeaway from this week for anybody in the LA area is our live podcast is next week, or this week if you're listening to this at the beginning of the week.
I'm not
July
ready.
10th at the Improv Lab. Go to hollywood.improv.com or go to our Twitter page and the link's at the top. But please come out on
Perush
Tuesday
is
the 10th.
flying in, I think, right?
I think he is.
Perush. I feel like a lot of pressure now from Perush.
Well, that's on you.
He's going to be out there. He's going to have his...
I think Joel Madison will be there.
That we know is going to be outstanding.
And that might be it. Unless you come join us at the Improv Lab.
Now, can you talk about the gig
July
you did,
10th.
or you can't talk about it?
I can, yes.
Oh, how did it go?
It was fun. It was this is Jen Kirkman's show at the Improv Lab the other night.
You couldn't talk about it beforehand?
We could talk about it, but she didn't want us pumping it on Twitter so that a bunch of people would think that she's booking a show.
Yeah. So who took my place?
No one. It was just me and her.
Oh, cool. Cool. Who am I? I don't know.
So she goes up on stage first and opens the show basically going, yeah, I'm going to do, this is all me doing all new shit.
Were people there?
Yeah, it was full.
Oh my God.
The lab. It's small.
But I can't fill it.
Well, we'll see.
We'll see.
July 10th.
We'll see if we can fill it.
Prove him wrong, folks. Prove him wrong.
Yeah, make me feel bad. Attend.
Yeah, it was a really nice audience, which I abused.
Why? In what sense?
Well, she went up and said, I'm doing all new stuff, and I like to have, the people I put in the show, I have new stuff, and sometimes they come up and pretend like they're doing new stuff and fuck me over. That's okay. So it's like the gauntlet is now thrown for me to go.
You had to do new stuff.
I had to do new stuff. When I had planned on doing new stuff, but I didn't plan well. Let's just say.
You didn't plan on the attention being drawn to it, did you?
And I was like, well, I'm the only one opening for her, so she's fucking talking about me at this point,
Yeah.
So I went up there, and within 3 sentences, I'm like, so my father-in-law died last week, and I'm like slogging through hospice material. And
I don't know why that makes me laugh.
Well, it was such bad showcraft. But
why? Because did you panic or you just?
I didn't really panic.
You just wanted. Yeah.
I had over half written. You know how not overwriting because it wasn't fully written, but over half writing.
Over half of the joke that you wrote.
I didn't mean I'd written over half of it. I mean, I had half written it. I had half written too much stuff.
I see.
So I had a bunch of half-written shit.
You had a germ of a laugh.
I had a bunch of notions, not so many punchlines. A lot of funny notions. But I got some shit out of it, and it was, I don't think I embarrassed myself. I may have. And I certainly got laughs, it wasn't, and I did, but then I did like a death set, basically. It was like I just started coming up with all these various death things.
So it was death themed more than it was like,
themed.
well, you didn't try it and pretend it happened yesterday. Right, that's not like. Oh, speaking about, I just recently got out of the hospital. Like, if you try to make it more recent.
No, I didn't do shit like that, really.
Or on the way. People used to do on the way here. Something happened a lot.
I'll do that if something on the way there happens.
Right.
But I won't fake it usually.
And so,
usually, occasionally.
Was Jen happy?
I think she was happy.
Yeah.
She expressed that she liked that I did a bunch of death shit because.
That sounds like her kind of.
There was one moment where I got the weirdest laugh where it was like, and it was mid-death stuff, and it was like a laugh where it was like the way you want a laugh to be. It was like everyone laughed at the same time, but it was like at half volume. So I was just like, that was a weird amount of laughter, and then I got a big laugh from that, and I was like, there's really no commitment on either side of this microphone right now, is there?
She put the pressure on. How was her? I love watching.
And she was great.
She's always great.
Although I have to say, she was like went on and on about how it's all brand new, and then she opened with, "Have you guys heard this story before?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard this story?" So clearly, they were stories that existed already.
Yeah, but it
was her show, so fine.
I don't think I was. What's that?
But it was her show, so fine.
Yeah, I will say that Jen Kirkman, nobody has have I ever seen. I must have said this before. I saw her when she first started.
Yeah.
And she would take so many chances back before, like she was even. She was comfortable on stage, but she seemed fearless to me from the beginning of her career.
Yeah.
And it's been very fun to watch as she goes by me, leaves me in the dust.
Sure.
And once again, just one more person who says they won't forget me, and then they don't forget me, but I'm depressed about it. Well, I went down to Huntington Beach on the same night.
Right. How'd it go?
I had to rent a car because the car was in the shop.
Oh, okay.
And then I had a couple of pleading tweets along those lines. I've rented a car. The show starts at 7:30. The show starts in Huntington Beach at 7:30. Okay, first of all, why?
Right.
Now, because they thought they were going to have two shows. But everybody knows an Andy Kindler contract is open-ended at any point for any reason.
Can we do half a show, they say, when you get there?
And I actually had fun. There were like 14 people there, 15 people. I had fun because 4 of the people were friends, some of my oldest friends who lived in Long Beach.
Nice.
Right. So what the hell is going on with Huntington Beach?
Nice, right.
Right. So I came home after taxes with 125. Look, the point is, what is wrong with that? That's a nice area. Why can't they get together? And how come those places are never going to have comedy clubs, the Orange County or something? They will, maybe.
They might.
They do, but I've been to the Improv in Irvine. Believe me, I've been there. I don't know.
Perhaps they're so self-satisfied that they aren't really looking for outside entertainment.
That's true. Well, it's not like they have to go to the Cerritos Auto Square.
I went to Orange County on Saturday night.
And what was there?
Frank Conniff, TV's Frank Conniff, and Trace Beaulieu, my friends from Mystery Science Theater.
And where'd you go?
To Santa Ana.
Oh, Santa Ana.
Downtown Santa Ana.
To the Servite Theater?
No, it was a different theater.
Santa Ana is all the way out by Riverside?
It's past Anaheim by some ways, yeah. I don't know. It's the 5.
Did you ever do that into the fork in the road joke?
No.
Or that was just Johnny?
The go to the Slauson cutoff, get out of your car, cut off your Slauson.
Cut off your Slauson? But then did he actually ever take an actual fork, like a Carrot Top style bit?
I don't know.
Well, you know what? I don't think I've ever teed off something that had no ending that you were able to take and make it into a diamond, like a coal thing. Like, I give you nothing, you squeeze it under pressure for 10,000 years.
Right.
And you take my nothing story and make it a diamond.
And make nothing aid.
Nothing aid. I listened to another thing about Jonestown. I probably listened to everything about Jonestown. I want to tell you something. I saw the documentary Jonestown. I've listened to many video or whatever they call it, stories of it.
Yeah.
And it's depressing. I want to tell you something. Once you know everything, it's very depressing.
Yeah.
It's very depressing.
I know less than you, and I was depressed by it.
That guy, first of all, was not a good guy, like you said. You
Right.
told me he was a really good guy who was upset.
That was just my takeaway.
And the people who are heroes, though, are that Leo Ryan, who's dead.
Yeah.
And Jackie Spears is a hero.
I prefer heroes who aren't dead, frankly.
Right. But if you go, before Trump came along, people were respected if they were prisoners of war.
Right.
We didn't think
Those
that was
were
a
the
crime.
norms.
Yeah, yeah. Isn't it amazing that everything that they have done in the name of not being politically correct has been something racist or something?
All right.
Cut to. It's like, I guess did you ever believe in the argument that things were too politically correct? Because there's some legitimacy to it. I'm not saying there's no legitimacy to that argument, but
Yeah, but it's like one of those. It's one of those arguments that it's just like you don't want to align with the side that's.
Yeah.
Because in general, it's for the good. Occasionally people are extremist about it, and it makes everyone look silly. But I think in general, if the whole point is to not offend people because of their identity,
right? Why would you?
And not their character, then it's not a terrible thing.
But why do they ever defend? Why? Because that was the thing. Because I think it didn't start, but Bill Maher perfected it in a horrible way of, I'm telling the truth. It's
he had a show called Politically Incorrect.
Right. And then he got almost sued by Jackie Mason, who claimed that Jackie Mason said it was his name, but nobody. But the argument, I could say you could have a basis for it, but Bill Maher just used it to excuse horribly insulting humor. And that's also become true as a general thing and throughout society. Like the be civil movement is just...
Well, it's being used as soon as I offend you, you're politically correct. That's how it's being used now.
Right, yes. It's just like they use identity politics. See, if they call it identity politics, then they're saying, if I say all black people need to have more rights, and then they go, that's identity politics. Yeah, but I'm identifying, that's the group that needs help. No, not the only group, but one of the groups.
Right.
I see why now I'm not on a political talk show of some kind or similar.
I think you should you should stick to who should step back or whatever that.
Fall back.
Sorry.
Well, let me see what else do you have. I think it's called the Rec Room is where I played.
Yeah. Well, it was called the Improv Lab where I played, and thanks again, Jen Kirkman, who was super funny. Despite my deaf lead-in.
Well, what else? What else is in the news? What else is going on?
LeBron James coming to the Lakers.
Oh, my God.
That's a big sports story. We're so good with sports stories.
Now, what are they talking? Who is it? I sound stupid, but I heard someone arguing about the Boogie deal.
Yeah.
Who's Boogie?
Boogie is DeMarcus Cousins, who signed with the Golden State Warriors.
Okay, now, is that the deal we were part of?
No.
But why are people complaining about that?
People are mad because it's the Golden State Warriors already were seemingly an unbeatable team of all-stars.
Oh, he's going to the Golden State Warriors. Now, why are they allowed to do that under their salary cap
Because he went there for $5 million.
Oh. He went under the Let's Win a Championship program. I'll work for $2?
Yes.
I don't like it.
Although he is rehabbing a torn Achilles tendon, so.
Well, let's see. I'll send Jeff Gillooly over there.
All right, moving on.
Okay, I'm glad to leave that topic. I had so much more to say about it, about Boogie.
All right. So when are you going to England?
I am going to England in September.
Okay.
And someone asked, maybe that's one of the questions we're going to get asked. I start to think people are, when I say ask questions for the show, and then I see questions come in, I forget why we're getting questions, and I almost answer them.
Yeah, be careful with that.
Yeah, that could be terrible.
I try not to look at the questions before the show. I look to see if there are questions, but I try not to look at them.
You must have a whole pre-show ritual that I'm not privy to.
I do, because you're not here.
Here's the problem with my energy, is I don't know what's wrong with it. I'm thinking, every time I open my mouth, I think, I'm here, I'm ready to go.
Well, you're very confident in nothing tonight.
I know. It's better than this. I don't want to talk about anything. But it's not much better than that. What? We're supposed to prepare for the show. I should have come prepared for it. And you have a thing that you're looking at.
I do. Oh, you know what Alex wanted to ask you about last week? And then...
I forgot to talk about it? Was it the Young Comedian special?
Yes.
Because we didn't talk about it at all?
We have, but...
Okay, no, Alex said talk about it because I looked at a picture online of all the people. And, oh, my God, I really did look... I was younger at some point.
25 years ago?
1992.
Yeah, 26 years ago.
And Dana Carvey hosted it. Janine Garofalo was in it. Bill Bellamy. Ray Romano. Did I say Bill Bellamy? Yeah. Janine Garofalo. How come I got
Fred Stoller? Wasn't Fred Stoller in it?
Not in that one. Nick DiPaolo. And I'm forgetting one more person who was in that. It was so much fun. We did it in Tempe, Arizona, and I was very nervous for it. But if you ever want to look at that picture, it's very cute. Because I thought at the time people would know, because I was 36. You wouldn't think of that as a young comedian, right? You think of that as a comedian who things didn't go his way, is what you would think. Now, when Alex wanted us to talk about it, I forgot why he wanted us to talk about it.
I think just because you hadn't talked about it before, but I think,
Oh, you know who was there? Was David Spade. He was there because he's friends with Carvey, and he was very supportive.
Yeah.
And Dana Carvey was...
And he was from Tempe,
And he's from, yeah, exactly. He's from that area. But I was fun that he was there. And we did 2 sets.
And was that your first big thing?
I think, in a way, that was my first big thing because it predated Letterman, of course, and it felt like a big thing.
It was a big thing. That was, to me, 92 is when I moved out here, but that was still one of those, stand-up benchmarks that you wanted to be able to do, and I never got to do it.
Well, you also came out here. Did we ever figure out the year? Is it 92?
I came out in 92.
Ah, okay.
But I bailed. I bailed into TV pretty quick.
You didn't know that was going to happen? You didn't. What did you think?
No, I came out with the stated goal of getting a writing job and the secret desire to, be able to bail because I was a big stand-up star.
Right.
And then I got out here, and as I've talked about before, I just couldn't stand behind my act, really, because it was all just a bunch of shit that I cobbled together on the road that worked fine out there. But when I had to break it down into 10-minute sets, I just was like, there was nothing. I was like, happy.
Yeah, it was nothing to
nothing to stand behind,
or to anchor it in certainly a short joke format.
Yeah,
at that
it
point.
just wasn't. Yeah,
did you think when you'd come? Did you know that when you had come to town that there would be an adjustment like that, or you just didn't know? How would you know what to expect?
I didn't know what to expect. I knew that. Obviously, I knew it was the quote big time. I knew I wasn't. I didn't think I was going to come out and be discovered as a star right away. Mm-hmm. But I didn't know where I'd fit in the pecking order either.
Yeah. There's no way. It's like I always think if I could remember the feeling I have now, I could go back and do everything all over again, and then I'd be more, not necessarily successful, but I would be less mean to myself.
Yeah.
But I don't, because when you're at that certain level, for me, it was like I couldn't imagine how anybody would ever, know who I was,
Right.
Although stand-up was so hot when I started, there was so much work that I kind of didn't worry as much.
No, me either.
Because I started getting work.
You felt successful because you were working, and that to a certain extent, that's the whole goal is pay your bills by doing stand-up. That's like the first level of success that you can reach is not doing anything else.
Yeah.
So and I had gotten there by 19, and so, but I had to be out on the road to do it. But people just, what had happened really was anytime anyone saw me, who was evaluating me, they go, "You're a really good writer." And that's pretty much all they'd say.
Okay.
And so I kind of got like, okay, yeah, I'm not a good performer. I get it.
Yeah, but Well, but that's only because you not. Well, first of all,
I was a kid. I didn't have a real identity at all. I had like, I mean, I wasn't a kid, you know, I wasn't immature like a kid, but what I had formed on stage was this artificial road comic identity that made my jokes work, but it wasn't really a reflection of my personality. It was just this way to say my jokes on stage in North Dakota, you know? So.
And you didn't question it. I wouldn't imagine you.
I thought I was doing fine. You know? But when I got out here and realized, no, it's much more about the person saying it than the jokes.
Right.
You know?
Oh, right, I say.
It's much more about that.
How old?
When you're doing 10 minutes?
How old were you?
I was 20 when I came out here.
Yeah.
And so I just wasn't, I couldn't go up on stage as a confident man, you know?
Did you try and get into like the improv or?
Yeah, and I did all the rooms. I did the improv and Igby's and the store even occasionally and the Laugh Factory and.
Well, also your writing career also took off in a way. So probably you were more excited about it when you started it too, or no?
Yeah, no, I was. I mean, it was, like I said, that was my stated goal. So as soon as I got writing jobs, it's like, okay, I succeeded at what I stated I was doing. I wasn't depressed about not making it as a stand-up. I mean, I was kind of, the first couple of years I was out here, I was kind of depressed just because it was hard to get anything going, period.
Right. And you see, like I'm lucky because I moved out here before I started stand-up. So I was depressed, really depressed when I was 20, not really depressed. So sorry for saying that. I'd never been really depressed, but kind of like despondent when I was 21, 22, 23.
Yeah.
And so
I had a bit of that those first couple of years.
I think it would be harder in your case only for the comedy part because I just got disgusted with music. So when I finally entered into comedy, it was like a pleasant surprise in a way.
Right. But I was lucky to have people who were, like Jeff Cesario and people who would take me around to clubs and introduce me and, and I had Mystery Science Theater as a credit, which wasn't when I moved out here, it wasn't much of a credit yet.
When did it get to be a popular culty show? In the late 90s?
In the early 90s, but, it was a few years in, so, and I moved out pretty soon after I left the show. So there was a lot of meetings I went to where people hadn't seen the show. Right.
And the show went from, it was a local show? When you, where did they show it originally?
We started as a UHF show in Minneapolis.
Wow.
And then we moved to Comedy Channel, which became Comedy Central. But originally it was the Comedy Channel, and I did that season.
Oh, is that what I was watching?
Yes.
I see. Okay. So if you had just done the UHF channel, nobody would have seen it out here. They have those shows?
But yeah, and those shows are, a lot. My shows have all been re-released on Shout Factory, and they were shown in rotation with the others. But it was, when they were running first run, it's like it was like in less than 100,000 homes, the Comedy Channel. So it was kind of one of those things where people would see the show later in the run, and then they'd see one of my episodes, which were clunkier.
Yeah, it's a different style. Well, I'm not.
As like any show, they got better over the years. So people would see the thing that was better and that get familiar with all those characters, and then they go back and see an old one, and it'd be like a different voice for the robot and a different scientist there.
And they go, what
instead
happened?
Of Frank, and So.
What happened in the past? Yeah.
So
was that the first cult show to hit or on Comedy Central, or was that maybe Dr. Cat? See, I don't know how many people know. Everyone knows about Mystery Science Theater 3000. People don't know about it. I know about Dr. Cat. You do.
I think Dr. Cat survives as a...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, nothing really survives.
Nothing survives.
But Dr. Katz is remembered, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that, I think Mystery Science Theater has a sort of, especially enduring cult. Now that we're in year 30 from what when we were on UHF.
Well, I remember when I went on the Higgins Boys and Gruber on comedy, when it was Comedy Channel, and there was something very exciting about that. See, that's the thing I always wonder is like, that was a very exciting time period for me, although it was also a very nerve-wracking time period because I was always comparing myself and all that kind of thing. But when I look back on it, it seems like it was a seminal period for cable. But maybe everyone looks back on their lives that way. If not, it's the most boring topic I've ever come up with.
Well,
doesn't everyone? Let's see. I always feel like everybody's life had the '60s in them. You know what I mean?
Mine has no 60s in them.
You have no '60s in there.
Not a lick.
And yeah. And
my parents weren't even particularly 60s-ish.
My dad was born in 1926, and my mom was born in 1929, so they wouldn't have been...
My parents were born in 41 and 42.
Your parents were closer to having gone through the actual thing.
My parents were like the Beatles' age and Dylan's age.
But did they smoke pot or anything?
Yeah, they did. But they weren't hippies ever. I mean, my dad was like a law school student in 1966 or 65 when they got married.
Were your folks always progressive, pretty much?
They were always, my dad was a Republican until, I mean, I think he voted, I think his last vote might have been for Bill Clinton.
Right.
But,
he died in the early 90s?
He died in 95.
I don't like it one bit. I don't like it.
Nor did I.
Yeah.
But socially, yeah, completely liberal. But, my mom, their votes cancel each other out throughout their marriage, basically, if my dad voted Republican, so.
Oh, even through Nixon?
I think he voted Nixon.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was the head of his high school Republicans
club.
I mean, this would have been Eisenhower.
Oh.
He was an Eisenhower Republican.
Wow.
But yeah, I think part of it was just being Jew contrarian.
Well, that makes sense. I mean, I'd like to do a Studs. I'm doing a Studs Terkel like series of interviews based on they're going to be a horrible. How many do you think? And I'm not trying to depress you. You think 60 million people will die when Trump goes nuts? Look, it's not something I want to dwell on. What's your guess for when Trump he's in a bad mood and he goes, do this and first of all, do you believe that he could say, do this and do that and it would happen? I think he could.
What do this is?
Drop a bomb. Let's drop a bomb on it. See, I'd like to think that they're like, if he says we're dropping a bomb, we're not dropping a bomb. That's what I would like to think.
I don't know. We're going to find out, aren't we?
Well, if we do go out...
I just don't even know how we've got on that.
You know what? If we do go out...
You just decided I'm going to stop listening and I'm going to start talking about nuclear war.
Well, no, here's the thing. I don't know where we got... asking me how I got somewhere in a conversation is the most torturous thing you could do, because I can't. If the price was that you'd kill me, I wouldn't be able to remember how we got into it.
That's true.
But,
I think when you do remember, it's heartbreaking. Because I do remember what you just said, Studs Terkel, and then suddenly you're...
No. The Studs Terkel was like, when I'm interviewing, it's like, I think a horrible thing could happen. And where were you? You know how people were like, where were you when Hitler rounded everybody up? That's what I think is happening now. But we're free now because we're Jews. We think it's cool.
And we still have Twitter. So.
What's that?
And we still have Twitter. I can tell you're in a nervous mood because you're using Twitter in a destructive way again.
I don't even know that.
No, I'm just starting to see the rage bubbles.
You mean?
But you're just yelling at the TV on Twitter is what you're doing.
I don't even know, but it's like
I'm seeing pundits and I've seen Michael Steele calling you an idiot and you're calling him an idiot.
He doesn't like. The thing about it is, here's what I think. Is when people ask questions, is what I'm doing useful? Probably not. But I do get so fucking tired of the people who should be paying for this in some way. Should be people like Michael Steele, who has never for 1 second tried to stop Trump, tried to do and through any election has he done anything that's just been right down the road Republican. I just have no respect for it. Because he's supposed to be a moderate voice.
Right, but he's spoken out against Trump quite a bit. Like a lot.
Yeah.
For the guy who was the head of the RNC, he has spoken out a lot against Trump.
He wasn't the head of the RNC.
He was.
He was. Not since he's been with MSNBC. It's been many years. He's been...
I know, but I'm just saying, the guy's still a Republican.
He shouldn't be. Or he should be a Republican who really stands for change. But when he starts blaming, you know how this new thing is, they're going the wrong way about it with the protest or the whatever they're trying to do with that.
Yeah.
And when he goes, Maxine Waters really stepped in it. Why is anybody not getting a he's just trying to get Maxine Waters. Is that Frankenstein wakes up from falling from his
Frankenstein with podcast apnea? Fire! So
you're right. You know, you're never wrong. So
I don't even know what I had. Did I have a point? I didn't know.
Well, the point is that Michael Steele called me dumb, and I don't care about him. And Podaritz. Here's the thing: if there's a time period in therapy where I can let go of my anger, I very much look forward to that time period.
See, I think here's what I would posit. Like, don't try with Michael Steele at this point, but it seems to me that you could go like directing, because you're a blue check, Twitter person, you could actually go, hey, Michael Steele, why, instead of going like doing the public, like Michael Steele's a fucking idiot motherfucker, doing that.
You're not wrong the way you're describing it.
That's totally, I think I'm right on.
Yeah.
You could just, you could actually go straight for a dialogue with the person as opposed to being the old guy yelling at his TV via Twitter.
There's two things to it. If you looked at my Twitter feed many years ago, it was all this kind of crap. It was like, especially during elections and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's just like, and you look back on it and you go, what was I thinking? The only thing that I'll say is that I am very annoyed that the media are the one people who seem to somehow escape. They don't escape criticism, but they kind of have not taken responsibility for anything they've done, including the Iraq War, including allowing Trump to get both sidism. So I feel like I want to yell at them, and then I know it's probably not going to do anything. So it's either got to be funnier or well, it doesn't. Okay, so let's just say it doesn't matter what it is. I start to get annoyed. I can sense myself getting annoyed.
Right.
And I know that could be bad times are coming.
When you're annoyed?
No.
We can't use that as our barometer.
What I've learned from therapy is that I actually start to get excited. Like, oh, hey, they like that tweet.
Yeah.
Hey, I make a big, and then I start to think I have power. I think.
Right.
And that's important that I yell at this idiot. And then, if it's always great against someone like Dershowitz, but with other people it starts to get tiring.
Yeah.
Someone said to me this last week, they go, aren't you supposed to be jealous of Ricky Gervais? So I said, I will still say isolated things to trolls.
Yeah.
What do you do?
What do I do?
You just ignore them completely?
I don't get a lot of troll action on my thing. I really don't. It's really, actually, I'm like surprised considering how much I rage against Trump, I am surprised at how few trolls I get.
Do you mute? Because I did a lot of muting. So like all of these Ben Shapiro people or Dave Rubin.
Yeah.
These people, I don't hear their people because I muted them all.
All right. Well.
Well, that's the other thing that you probably are not as sensitive to or care as much about are these white guys who are making money on racism. I'm not saying you're for it, but it doesn't. But to me, it's like there's a great article. This is kind of a little other subject, but there's a great article in the New Yorker by Andrew Marantz, and he writes about like Milo and all these right wing groups.
Right.
Did you read that article?
No.
Excuse me. It's really good and it's really interesting. Because you see what they're motivated by, like these people who want free speech on campus. And he just examines free speech, that it is not true that there's, you can't be a free speech absolutist because you can't make child pornography. You can't make, there's certain things you cannot do.
Right.
So you can't ever say, I believe in free speech absolutely. So anyone who says they believe in free speech absolutely is really not telling the truth, because every country regulates speech if it's you can't incite violence in America. You can't say come at 3:00 to the thing and beat this guy in the head.
Right.
Some countries you can. So I just think it was interesting because these evil right-wing people like Milo, I think he's already gone now, this Milo Yiannopoulos and all these people, they are just making money on outrage and shtick, kind of.
Absolutely. And that's a
long-standing thing.
Well, it's a long line. I mean, it's part of the de-evolution of the Republican Party. Where it I think it starts. I mean, you can trace it back, probably 2 centuries, but if you look at the current thing, you go back to Rush Limbaugh and this steady stream of right-wing demagogues of Rush Limbaugh and Bill O'Reilly
right.
and Glenn Beck and all these fear-mongering douchebags who now turned into the president.
Or he's getting pardoned by
but Trump is just an extension of that demagoguery, the fear-based demagoguery, and playing to identity talking points that these fucking people have been talking about for 25 years. But that's the de-evolution, is the radio fucking talk show demagogue and the political demagogue are one thing now.
Yeah. I think in terms of how to conduct yourself, I still don't quite understand. I know that I can misuse things like Twitter, but sometimes when I'm very upset and I want to release a specific statement, it will be good. Like, I'm glad I said it this way, and then it just feels good because I got it out in the way I wanted to get it out. But that doesn't make up for the anytime I'm on Twitter too much, it just starts to go bad.
For me, I mean, obviously we use it differently, but for me, it's just like if I can't make my point in the form of a joke, I generally don't need to make my point because someone else is being much more shrill about the same point,
Right. Well, I'm trying to acknowledge that I'm being shrill, but then sometimes I'm saying things and people say, oh, I didn't, they're glad I said it because I'm saying things that are actually might be interesting.
I think a lot of people are following you because of your Twitter behavior, because it's either entertaining or they agree with it, or you're saying something they want to say, or I don't think you're turning off your followers by doing it. I think you probably attracted a lot of them because of that.
Right, but I wonder about this other persona, which could be, I know would be less confrontational. I'm thinking about, well, it's always some people like Colin Quinn, for example. He keeps a persona that's not him,
right?
And so then he can kind of never.
It's like Laszlo Toth almost.
Yes. Who is Laszlo Toth?
The Laszlo Letters by Don Novello.
Oh yeah, so great. Dear President Nixon, I'll never forget that book. You're the best. And then later Seinfeld did a version of it.
He just did it was someone else did the
I
book.
don't even know. Why do I bring up these topics that are of no interest, can only cause trouble? And you know what I'm saying? What's my MO?
What is your MO? So we got the show next week.
Now, what are we going to... Okay, so in real time, it's almost 2 weeks.
No. In real time, it's a week from tomorrow. If you're listening to the podcast on a Monday, it's tomorrow.
Stop saying the fake time on the podcast. Why would you possibly think I could remember a fake time period? Mr. Weinstein, please come to my office immediately.
Okay, focus, Andy.
Okay.
All right. We have to do this live thing next week.
Yeah.
Our initial concept was we're going to work on the state of the industry jokes.
Oh, that means we have to meet this week. Wait a second.
Well,
No. You see, you're lying. Because we have to meet before July 10th.
Right.
But you're making it like it's tomorrow.
No, I'm not.
Here's the thing. I know I'm annoying now. I can't get out of it.
Yeah, it's like head injury annoying at this
I can't
point.
get out of it. I can't get out of it. What would you suggest?
I don't know. Should we take a break?
Is it long enough? Have we been long enough in that we could legitimately take a break?
Yeah.
Okay, let's take a break.
Okay. Music.
Yeah, what do you got this week? It's always you until I bring something.
That's true.
Last week was the acapella. How was the reaction to the acapella song?
I gotten a few tweets that it was they liked it.
Yeah.
It's no 7 Steps Down reaction. That was still the biggest winner.
That's also the biggest problem of doing a podcast, tweeting, or anything, is that for someone like me who always claimed that I'm going to do what I want and not care how people respond, if you are on Twitter, you have to care. There's no way.
I like feedback. I'm not going to lie.
No, but I mean, yeah, I guess that's okay. Yeah, because it doesn't get to you.
I'm on Twitter to tell jokes, and then I like to see if they got a response.
Right, but But you don't get obsessed by it. That's because you're not OCD.
I don't think I'm fully healthy about it. I check, more than I care to admit, although I'm admitting it.
Well, the reason why I'm trying to do it less, if I can, I don't want what happened last year to happen this year. Last year, I went to, what do you think we met around this time?
Yeah, I think we were actually closer to the actual festival last year.
Okay, so
But you started panicking earlier, and this year you're not panicking because you just was like, oh, well, Josh is going to help me.
No, I'll tell you what the problem is right now. I mean, the problem is never legitimate, but the problem right now is that I have to come up with a TV set for to do in Canada. I think I've mentioned this before.
You did.
So I need to come up with those goddamn jokes that has to be sent in. That should have been sent in earlier. But my problem is, it's the way I do things is bad. I should work on the number of different things. Get a number of different things started.
So instead, you're multi-not tasking.
Well, I had to make the thing for going to England. I'm going to England, and I came up with Andy Kindler, the Ugly America tour.
Okay. So you had to come up with a sentence.
And
that took me down for a month.
But, then I had a tagline, and I came up with "Comic seeks asylum, please take him in," which I thought I was using your line, but you say your line was "Please take me in."
I don't know. Right,
but here's the thing: I sent you an email because I thought you just automatically. You actually went a half a day without. It was unbelievable. I was going to call the police to see if you were okay. But then, when I told you what the name was, there would be no way you could react to it once it being the name that could have been happy for me.
All right.
This is what would have been great. I can't believe it, Andy. That might be the greatest name for a show I've ever heard.
All right. But we know you're not looking for that from me.
No. But I was looking for, I incorporated some of your title in there.
That's nice.
First of all, there's no upside for you if I include your material.
So far not.
When we were trying to think of the things that you had named, did we remember that one week we was trying to think of the jokes that you'd written for last year, speech? We were trying to think of what the jokes were and other things that you've come up with. Did we mention that you came up with Thought Spiral too? You came up with Thought Spiral, the particular show?
I don't know what else. But yeah, I'm integral to your success.
You also was the first person to say groovy.
Yes.
Hello, lamppost. What you knowin'? Okay, Josh, so What did you think? What do you think now about taking the break? We are in the break.
We're about to take the break.
Okay, so I
was about to introduce a song, and then you went, wow.
Okay, now, you already know what the song's going to be.
Now I do, yeah.
Okay.
I've had time.
All right. So my request would have been, I like the tearjerkers. I like when they're like 7 steps down, and now you're the guy who writes the depressing songs that we love.
Wow, okay, now I'm changing plans. I don't have another depressing one, but I have another sincere one.
That's great.
This is my father song about being a father, not having a father, because I have a stepson, which I don't talk about a lot because he's a privacy lover.
Yeah, I don't blame him.
But
I tried to send him a contract.
But this was my my father and son, my cat's in the cradle, my my parents' prayer song.
Oh, so you sing it, but it's not the Cat Stevens structure necessarily.
It is not at all. No.
Okay. Well, I'm looking forward to it.
This is a live thing with Allison and I bashing away on acoustics, Dave Gruber Allen on keyboard, and Tommy Chan on bass. Cool. And the song is called "I Hope the World is Gentle."
Like a chalkboard on your spine. But I hope you get everything that you want and do everything that you should. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. The world is real, though it may seem artificial, I'd agree. Hey, where's the appeal in mingling with all that mediocrity? Well, it's your game to lose. Nirvana or hell just depends on what you choose. But I hope you get everything that you want and do everything that you should. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. Now's your chance to learn. What you take is not as sweet as what you earn. But I hope you will get everything that you want, do everything that you should. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. I hope you do everything that you want and hopefully do something good. And I hope the world is gentle when it teaches you what I never could. Yeah, I hope the world is kind to you when it teaches you what I never could. Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
No, wait, you're singing?
Yeah.
It's so funny because I think I hear Gruber, but I didn't hear Gruber.
Gruber was in there in the harmonies.
It's unbelievable. I love that.
Thank you.
You know, it also reminds me of the song, when you think of the type of songs that are about fathers. I love Beautiful Boy,
Yeah.
John Lennon's. And, man, you guys sound, I just like the way the band, you guys always sound great. I haven't heard hardly anything that you guys did. I don't know where I was during all these years. Was I on the road?
You were on the road. You were making your own magic.
Well, I certainly didn't want to sing in anything because I would have been ashamed. Excellent.
Well,
it reminds me a little bit, it's a little bit like Elvis. It's a little bit, but it doesn't, you know what? It sounds like a lot of the songs could have been in the new wave or today. It doesn't really matter, but it's a kind of
that's where my musical soul is.
Yes.
Is in late 70s, early 80s, new wave.
Yeah.
The Elvis Costello obviously is the big key to that, but then it's also Talking Heads and Joe Jackson and Squeeze and those kind of.
Yeah, and every one of those are right. That's all in my wheelhouse, my friend. I'm sorry I called you my friend.
Why?
Because I sound like an idiot.
Well, because I'm your friend. Is that the idiot part?
No, because this is the first podcast.
It's a little Tom Snyder.
Thank you, my friend. I understand. This is the first podcast I would say we've done where I have, at the end of every single thing I've said, evaluated it poorly. And this is the monkey that's on my back right now. It's not that much on my back.
No.
But I can't get out on my own. But I can get out on my own.
There's
way.
a little bit of the reaching over to the steering wheel and steering us into a wall for no reason.
Yeah. Yeah. But when we do the real shows,
Right.
I think that it'll have a different vibe
Absolutely.
to it.
Thank God these are all test shows.
I am fascinated, though. The more I hear rhythm, when I hear that station that plays the oldies, and I hear rhythm and blues, and you hear some Little Richard, he really was the greatest.
He was pretty great.
Yeah. And when he goes, oh, can you do it?
I don't. The volume at which I'd have to do it is not.
He goes a octave higher than falsetto.
Yeah.
And he's, Good Golly, Miss Molly. A lot of those songs, I think, had undercurrents.
Yes, they did.
But when I listen back, I also enjoy The Big Bopper was good, too.
Do you what? You think what?
Oh, baby, that's what I like.
Should we take some questions?
Absolutely.
All righty.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? All right. Yoshi Yamamoto. Let's start with him.
Yoshi Yamamoto. Hey, Yamamoto. That never gets old for me.
That's good.
And for
I bet
you,
it never gets old for
young.
him either.
It never. Well, he will enjoy it, but how much can he enjoy it at this point?
Becky Thayer was on John Levinstein's new and funny podcast talking about The Stump, and she said, and I quote, "Andy Kindler hated me because of how blue she'd go. I need to know more about this, and do you guys have any good stump stories?"
Well,
first of all, The Stump was a pre-social media, posting board.
it was
of a
known
bunch
as,
of comedy writers. Mostly,
it was called A Tight Circle. Was the name
Tight
of
Circles was the software platform.
the software platform, and for like once a day, it would update everybody somehow.
No, it would continuously update it.
Oh, you think
it had
be-
to be refreshed, but
I think that when it first started, it was once a day it got refreshed, and then it was continuous.
maybe I wasn't an early adopter.
Well, what that person's talking about is I got very angry with Becky Thayer and who's the person who created Transparency? Jill Soloway.
Yeah,
I got angry, and now I look back, I feel foolish about it.
sure.
Because I feel like to defend any of those arguments is like me 3 years from now defending going after Michael Steele.
But it was a toxic environment. The whole thing,
Yeah.
and there was it was sold to me as it's like it was like a secret thing,
And it was already hated once you heard about it.
Yeah.
Because it was almost already elitist.
It was elitist and it was toxic. It was like there would always be some kind of fucked up fight,
Yes.
and it wasn't a good enough platform so you could get immediate feedback. So you'd be confused about who you were talking to a lot of the time.
Well, at first we had fake names.
And yeah,
When
by
we
the
first
time
started.
I came on, it was like you have to use your old name, and it's like there had already been problems. Clearly,
Because I was Squeaky.
yeah.
For my name from camp. But then you had people like Gavin Polone, and then people like Gavin Polone, they're just bullies.
Yeah,
They're just horrible.
there was a lot of bullies on it, and there was a lot of fights. And I even got into a fight with Nell Scoville once on there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, I don't remember us going back and forth much.
No, I think you were.
I left at one point.
I think
Yeah.
you had left.
So what was your
fairly
fight
early.
about?
I don't remember. I remember. Well, if I think about it, I can remember. It was she had written some long screed about, and screed is already a dismissive. That was my problem, was that she felt I was dismissive of her.
Right.
She was, she wrote this thing about female writers and it was a long
right.
treatise.
Yeah, that's better.
I was about to say diatribe, and that's dismissive too.
Yeah.
But I basically, I think I came back. She wrote this long thing, and it didn't feel like, it felt too sincere for the platform. So I wrote something like, "I hope that's not your spec script," or something like that, because it was about female comedy writers.
Oh, so she
came back at me with like, this angry list of her credits, basically. I don't need a spec script because I blah 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 blah
right.
blah blah blah. And I kind of went, hey, no, we actually know each other. You don't have to tell me. That made her mad. So.
That's the crazy part about it.
And then I gave her a very a snarky apology, which she came back and didn't accept. And then I think I gave her
a real one,
real apology.
Now, do you see her at all now? Or
I don't, but.
Well, yeah, I don't know if I.
But I don't think we're at war.
No, I'm not, and I'm not at war with anybody from that. I realized like what Becky Thayer and Joe Soloway were doing was they would be very blue on there.
Yeah.
And I sound like an old Jew just saying they would be blue. And so sometimes I thought it was gratuitous, but I could be wrong about that. I think I am a little bit of I don't love when everything's coming out of every orifice.
You have like no tolerance for shit jokes at all.
Yeah. Even on this
none.
podcast.
Yes.
No, it's not something. Now, I know that you like them better than me.
I can go scatological if necessary. It's not where I live, but
yeah.
Like my brother, for example, I can get him laughing at the most 6-year-old thing. He's got a weakness for the scatological.
Yeah. So, I think if I don't know why we look back and judge things. I feel like I was wrong in the argument because then it led to Gavin Pallone and then it led to feeling bad like Twitter can every day. But there were great people. I mean, there were funny people on there.
There was plenty of funny people.
John Levenstein was on there.
Yeah. Jake Hogan started the whole thing.
Jake Hogan, and there was the guy.
Marsha Wallace was on there before she died. And,
who?
Marsha Wallace.
Oh, I got confused. Marsha Warfield is not dead.
Not dead.
Yeah, that's right.
But there was lots. I mean, I think was Brett Willard on there at some point.
Maybe. Carrie Fisher was not on there, right? No,
I don't think she was.
I don't think she was.
But there was people who made. There were some big names that made sort of cameos and went, holy shit, I don't want to be here. But once it was, it actually made, but when Twitter started, it actually seemed, Twitter's much more friendly.
Yeah. And now when I look back at these fights I had, it's weird. It's very dangerous to be ashamed of yourself.
Yeah.
It's not really that good.
It's not productive.
What's that?
It's not productive.
It's not productive. And so I look back at those things and, I see myself. I can't believe that I didn't realize how much of myself was an enemy of myself. You know what I mean? I spent a lot of time trying to convince people that they were wrong or that they liked me or I wasn't wrong.
Right.
Now,
meanwhile, at the same time, everyone was telling you you're self-sabotaging and you just couldn't hear it.
On the stump?
No, just in general. I'm kidding.
I know. Okay, I didn't even know, but in a certain sense, that rings true to me.
Well, I mean, it was one of those kind of kiddings.
Yeah.
But,
it's half kidding.
But clearly that's been a theme.
Well, here's the one thing that I think has been a major breakthrough. I'm sorry if I've said it a million times. Is if you really can forgive yourself and not feel so terrible about yourself for things that you've done where you've been unreasonable. It's unreasonable it's unreasonable to say you're never going to be unreasonable. I think my parents were so much on us that we had to be polite, we had to be this way, we had to be that way. So now I can look back and I can actually say, I was angry at myself, I was angry at this. It's not the end of the world, you know? But it's a hard thing to do.
Well, the other thing I think you have to really realize at some point in order to break free of it is virtually nobody gives a shit about you.
That's true. That's a good.
And I mean that as a freeing thing, not as a curse. It's like people are so fucking self-absorbed, especially in this town, that they're just not leaving. Obviously, Sarah Thayer. When she thinks of the stump, she thinks of...
No, well, that's Becky.
Becky Thayer, sorry.
And Sarah's her sister, who's married to Andy Richter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah. But, I've seen Becky Thayer since then.
Yeah.
And we've gotten along,
Sure.
very well.
That context of the stump
Yes.
was toxic.
Well, once I was with Jill Soloway, and I for some reason I got into this thing of whenever I would see anybody, I would apologize for the stump. And then she said, what are you still worried about it for? Because I hadn't yet then sought help for the thing you can't control, which is what people think about you.
Right.
You can't control it.
You can't, but you also have to realize that mostly they don't.
Right, but I spend a lot of time guessing what their behavior means.
Right.
And that's also Nowheresville, man.
Perush will test show 65 just be Andy Kindler going 65 degrees downtown Los Angeles. Aerosmith, TJ Cranberries for 65 minutes as a prank.
I don't think when he's saying test show, which one?
65.
65 degrees downtown Los Angeles. Come on, about a half hour, we'll be giving away some Aerosmith tickets. Friday night, I'll be down at TJ Cranberries for the CJ Shushay Show Your Breasts and put your business card in the bowl night.
Okay.
You expected some kind of
I was
impression.
praying. Praying. Greg Kelly, can Foster Brooks explain cryptocurrency to Andy?
Well, what is this
cryptocurrency, like Bitcoin. Where's the fake money?
I think every single time you said Bitcoin all the way through. You're supposed to go a bear. Well, he had no problem saying bit. Can you predict the words that he would have trouble as a drunk person?
I don't know if he predicted them. I think it was more of a pacing thing.
But right outside of Rochester is in the wheelhouse.
Just outside of Rochester.
Is that actually a true one?
Yes,
Buffalo?
it is. That's the root of all Foster Brooks impressions, as far as I'm concerned. My wife is from just outside of Rochester. Come on.
I just still am fascinated with that he's created a phony world because it's not really harder to say Buffalo.
Right.
But
it's all about where in the sentence you're having your problems.
How about this? It could be your difficulties. It could be that, right?
It could, sure. Your difficulties.
She's from
Buffalo, yeah.
Right outside Buffalo. I don't know that I don't believe I don't know the ra sound helps.
I don't know if it helps to pick apart the Foster Brooks.
Well, today I thought of a funny image. Now, Wilbur Ross, do you know him?
Sure. Treasury Secretary Wilbur Ross?
He has a marionette
Or not,
face.
Steve Mnuchin is Treasury Secretary.
Right. Wilbur Ross is just like an advisor or something like that. But he looks like Edgar McCarthy or Charlie or Winchell or the puppet. And the more you think about it, you can't stop thinking about a marionette. And that's the kind of political comedy that you won't see on the Tonight Show.
That's the deficit, right?
And Mr. Deaver, and Mr. Haldeman Ehrlichman, too. That's actually a song I think he did have.
I think so.
Haldeman Ehrlichman. The other thing is that, were you a big Alan Sherman fan?
Yes.
Okay. I realize now that I only know My Son the Folk Singer.
Okay.
So, like, when you get with an Alan Sherman fan and then they start into a song that you've never heard before,
yeah,
you start to realize there's not, maybe we're overdoing it with Alan Sherman.
It was a downhill slide. He did three good albums and really more like two really good ones, I think. But then it was just like he lost. I heard this really good like an NPR talk piece about Alan Sherman years ago, and it talked about and I was reviewing this box set of his whole work, which I have, and it talks about how as he got more famous, because he got super famous super quick.
Yeah.
Like that My Son the Folk Singer was the biggest selling album of all time at that moment.
That's like amazing.
And so he got huge. And so his songs started to change from being this Jewy outsider to being showbiz insider jokes and talking, making more jokes about Bentleys and making jokes about, calling stars by their first name, Sophia.
I can't get my publicist on the phone.
And it's like he lost his magic by becoming an insider. And apparently he was like a bitter jerk too.
I did hear that. I think you told me that.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But it's an interesting story. Because and he was like a game show producer who was doing these songs at parties, and then like Harpo Marx like financed his first album. Harpo Marx.
Oh my God.
And so like people encouraged him to do this, and so he rented a soundstage, I think, when he did that first album, and just invited a bunch of people from the party scene and boozed them up.
Definitely getting a lot of success fast is usually hard.
Yeah.
Not that I would know it, but it's hard.
Yeah, it's not a recipe for the best coming out in you.
I mean, it's amazing.
As your client on I'm Dying Up Here has learned.
Hey, was I on again?
No, but he's going to need you next episode.
Oh, okay. I think I know what's going to happen.
Because they said
he's getting out of control.
Call that asshole's asshole agent or something like that. All right, Keith in Full Gear says, this is a reminder for Andy to plug his recently announced shows in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania on August 2nd at Good Comedy Theater. I bought a ticket for the 8 p.m. show. What does that make me a big man?
Anything but.
Andy also goes to Philly a mere day after Radiohead. Coincidence?
Yeah, but the thing is, I had no idea that Radiohead was going to invite me.
Whoa.
The ding dong dong.
To be creep.
I know so little about Radiohead.
Yeah.
Are you a fan of Radiohead?
I'm a mild fan of Radiohead.
Yeah. When I listened to them, I was in the mode of like, that guy doesn't seem like he wants to sing.
Yeah.
So I don't want to listen to him.
Fair enough.
But I have the wrong view of a lot of groups.
Probably.
Yeah.
Michelle Wisecarver.
Hi, Michelle.
Hi, Michelle. Josh, I know you were friends with one of my comic idols, Bill Hicks. Did you know him as well, Andy? And do either of you have any cool stories about Bill you can share? I bet he would be so goddamn angry at the current state of things, but maybe not surprised. We have talked about this before early on.
I worked with him.
You did a couple weeks with him, is that right? Yeah.
He would have been, I'll tell you one thing, he was so depressed when Dukakis lost.
Yeah, he was depressed about the first Gulf War, and yeah.
Who did Dukakis lose against? George Bush Sr.?
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, he talk about somebody who it wasn't like he wanted to, like he figured, I better do political material. It really mattered to him, and the world, of course, all these problems that he was talking about have all gone away, and things are all better now.
Right, there'd be no place for him in today's. No, he was great, and he was, for me, he was like, it was, I was 18 or something. Or 19 maybe, and the fact that he like even wanted to talk or hang out was like jaw-dropping to me.
He was like a sweet man. That's the thing that's amazing.
He was a very sweet man, and he was like a very sort of innocent guy in a lot of ways too. I mean, he had obviously like very staunch views on a lot of shit, but he also had this sort of childlike enthusiasm about things and innocence about things, it seemed like to me.
Yeah. And
we went guitar shopping once. He bought a hollow body Les Paul.
Where'd you go?
This was in the Twin Cities.
Oh, is there like a great place there?
I don't know. We were just driving around. He wanted to go guitar shopping, so I took him. We just started driving around to the different stores. Then he wanted to go to an AA meeting because he was like, I just had a dream last night that I went drinking with Sonny Corleone. So, and I, of course, told the bestiality story.
I know. I was going to bring it. At least I was smart enough not to go, maybe when you talked about how you were in the...
So I'll tell it again for people who join the podcast.
You were into the beastie. You were into the You were into beastie.
This friend of mine sent me this horrible bestiality tape for some reason. It wasn't even apropos of a conversation we had. He just sent me this
What would the
VHS
conversation
tape.
be? I hope you can get that for
Like,
me.
hey, can you send me a copy? There was none of that. He sent me this thing and the envelope.
As a joke?
As a joke, I hope. It wasn't because we hadn't shared this love of porn. But he sent me, and it was labeled, the envelope was labeled throbbing medical supplies. And so I put it into the VCR, not even knowing what it was, and then saw it was like, horse fucking and things like that.
I'm telling you, as you say it now, I mean, I get that people are into it. It does not turn me on.
It did not turn me on either. But as I'm watching it, my phone rings and it ticks. And he goes, what are you doing? And I said, well, it just so happens I'm watching this horrifying bestiality tape.
And he came right
He was
over.
like, I'll be right over. And he came from the west side to my place in Sherman Oaks.
Well, I saw a funny scene in, I saw Midnight Run again. I think I said I saw it again, but there's a scene where they have, Charles Grodin tries to get away, and then he has to be stopped by Robert De Niro. So Robert De Niro is really, really mad at him. And then, they're not talking, and then Charles Grodin goes, now, Jack, let me ask you a question. Those chickens we saw at the last, you telling me you wouldn't sleep with any of those chickens? and Robert De Niro goes, I might have given them a shot. And then they decide that had we met in a different life, we probably still wouldn't have gotten along. But that's the best bestiality joke I've heard in a comedy.
No. Well, the best bestiality joke ever is Wild Bill Bauer.
Have you told it?
Yes, I think so.
Oh, tell it again. How?
The problem with having sex with animals is you see them a year later and they act like they don't even know you.
Oh, man.
Alrighty. Leah Beale says, any chance sometime you'll play Nobody Likes a Clown When He's Crying as the musical interlude? It doesn't have to be today. It's Nobody Laughs at a Clown When He's Crying, and that's a Gruber song. So I think, have a recording of us doing it, but I'll have to ask his permission.
It's a great song, right?
Yeah, it's very funny. I'll ask his permission. It'll be a future intermission song.
He might be our first guest one day.
It could be. I think Joel Madison would be very disappointed.
Joe Madison's out.
Tom Owens skipped the last 9 episodes. What did I miss?
Does he really skip the last 9 episodes? Well, then you don't know about me being gay and transgendered. Me too. Why I said that?
Wow. We got hacky while you were gone.
No, in the last 9 episodes, I think we've dealt with a lot of stuff. You've admitted
music,
how badly.
lots of good music.
A lot of good music. You've admitted how poorly you treated me when we first started the podcast.
Are you waiting for that to happen?
No. Oh, and then well, you know what he missed? 4 bestiality anecdotes. And they all start the same way.
Would you have yelled at me on the stump if I was telling those anecdotes?
I don't think I would. I don't think we'd ever have an argument. But I had arguments with Jake Hogan.
Yeah.
I have arguments with everybody. It's just it became a monstrous place.
Tweet Bahara is pointing out that he caught my editing joke in the last show.
Oh yeah, and I pretended that I knew it. So is this a thing where you say something and then you took out what I would have said?
No, it was basically, it was a joke. I ripped off the joke from my movie and brought it to our podcast because you said something like, oh, so you finally learned how to edit. And then I was like, you finally learned how to edit, which is, I cut it off. And
if you're telling me that's always going to be a classic.
It's a classic joke. And at least 5 people have tweeted me today saying that they got it.
But you know what's not a good joke ever is if you're the camera guy and you start to shake your head up and down. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The camera's acknowledging your thing.
Right.
Never works.
It's not a good one, no. Shecky Flop Sweat says, hey guys.
That should be my real name. That's my birth name.
What would it sound like if the LA radio guy host lost his mind and just started making sounds instead of saying actual words about temperature and traffic?
65 degrees outside. We're going to go, that long. 2 for Tuesday, shmeka-deka-deka-doo. I lost the will. That's why I'm never in improv.
There wasn't a lot of commitment.
I'm
there.
never going to be in an improv group, but you could do it
Yes, and I wouldn't.
on the 8th. Potato. When
See
I'm
how,
on
see
my
how I yes-anded and negated you at the
yes, I
same
like
time?
that. When I die, and I will die sooner rather than later, if I keep being this annoying, I want you to keep doing the potato joke. Potato.
Tweet Bahara has another thought. I'm doing a podcast about the recent AT&T Time Warner financial arrangement. I'm calling it my favorite merger. Oh, two corporate giants join forces to dominate the world, and I'm the
he's
bad
guy? Wait, who is that?
Tweet Bahara.
Oh, Tweet. Why can't Josh? Here's another gag that you won't go for. Josh is out now for helping me with the speech. You're in. You don't want to be in, and there's nothing to be in on.
Yeah. I'm willing to.
Why are you making the money?
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Oh, like you haven't. Look around you, Josh, and you telling me you're not doing J. Elvis? You're not doing that great?
Not on my joke writing money.
Who was that cartoon where it was like a cat and they... It was like a cat who laughed.
That was a dog. It was Snidely or something.
You know everything.
On Hanna-Barbera.
Yeah. When they said Queek draw, that was racist,
Hey,
right?
Queek draw.
Was that Mexican?
I'll do the fitting around here, Baba Louie.
Hey, Quistra, I don't think this is such a good idea.
Well, stop doing such a stereotypical accent, Baba Louie.
Hey, Quistra, what are you talking about? You're being too politically correct.
Well, Baba Louie, we're both going to get in a world of shit.
Well, how come he didn't? The one guy didn't. Because he said, who are those two guys? It's who?
It was probably Dawes Butler.
Yeah. Oh, who played Quick Draw?
Yeah.
His character was not a stereotype.
Well, I'm not a stereotype, but my sidekick sure is.
Yes, I am Quistra.
Quick Draw. Those were the days. Those were the days where you could do an impression. Everyone was a Russian spy.
Baba Louie,
Baba
don't
Lou.
be discouraged. Quick draw, he ain't so hard to understand. Baba Louie.
I see us 2 years away from a Thought Spiral improv group
Yes.
where we launch into our various characters.
Yes. Stand by your man says, how many times has this situation happened? Josh, I wonder if Andy wants to grab some food. Josh checks Andy's Twitter feed. Josh, maybe another time.
Okay, I don't even get that.
That was Josh when it was dialogue. It was me in dialogue form.
What? So you won't go out to eat with me?
Yes, I think that's his point.
You are constantly, I would say 3 or 4 times a day, you're going, can we go now for coffee? Can we go now for a bagel? How was your lunch? Can I talk about your lunch with Frank?
It was fine. Frank and Joel Madison.
You never told me that was going to be the surprise guest.
Yes,
Did you go to Arts?
we did. It was a delight. And
Let me ask you a
And then I
question.
dragooned Frank into coming to the Mark Thompson podcast right after.
He didn't want to, I bet, at
And
first.
we talked to Bill Schneider. Do you remember Bill Schneider from
yes,
CNN?
from CNN.
He is not a funny man.
I don't even think he's that nice a guy.
he was a little.
I don't like him.
He was not warm.
He was on a show called The News Hole that I was also on.
Yeah.
With Harry Shearer. And I never liked...
Also not the warmest dude.
Well, but Harry Shearer has that reputation, but he's kind of warm to me. He's also very funny.
Very funny.
William Schneider's not funny.
Not funny.
And he used to be a CNN guy he was the king of the both sides.
Yeah. He's very professorial.
The other guy I can't stand is Jeff, who was in CNN.
Jeff Greenfield?
Yeah, can't stand him. Maybe it's Jew on Jew hatred.
Yeah, it could be.
Did overtly Jewish people scare you as a kid? Because you go like, am I going to be... Did that make you like... See, I have a theory that because any group that's been prejudiced against, like I've said before, I thought I had a big nose. I don't know how big my nose is.
Right.
But I was affected by the stereotype of Judaism.
I didn't feel any Jew stigma.
Yeah, because you're in Minnesota, a Jewish person sounds like a something with a something and a something. before I got here tonight, did you see there's something with Dennis Miller that someone sent me? He's like, he made some kind of Supreme Court joke.
Oh, yeah.
And Laverne sort of Sotomayor and Kagan are going to be like Laverne and Shirley.
I should sign up for Netflix to do the reboot of Laverne and Shirley. Bang.
You know, I kept holding out hope that he wasn't just a fucking moron. He's really a moron.
I can't even get up to Mike Huckabee level tweets.
That's right. Do you know Huckabee?
I'm taking my inspiration from Huckabee.
Yeah, I got a DM from Huckabee saying, "Pick up the energy, Chi-Chi." He's gonna crash and burn. How much longer can he go on? And how could you even be arguing that? I love Sonia Sotomayor. She is that dissenting opinion was fantastic.
It was.
Thank you.
I was gonna disagree because it was a dissenting.
Were you going to respectfully dissent or just dissent?
Just dissent.
That means you're very angry.
I'm very angry. Nashley Shirley says, many people say 3D movies are dead or dying. My film studies degree not so humbly believes it is an expansion of the art form, but is commonly referred to as a cheap trick, catering to the moronic masses. Is it or isn't it?
I don't agree with... would you like to weigh in first?
If you start.
I had a hot take. I think that it is... something that could be this whole idea. Someone showed me this thing. He goes out with Alan Forney, who's a cartoonist, and he showed me this thing that he did with his own cameras, where you put these things on, you really do kind of believe you're in another world.
But that's virtual reality.
Yeah, but I still think that's what 3D could be like at some point.
Yeah.
I don't think it's incredible yet. Do you? But I never watched a movie that would showcase it. I could never watch that Blue movie, for example.
Blue movie?
Yeah, James Cameron, The Blue People.
Yeah.
What was it called?
It was called, you just fucked me up with Blue People.
Seabiscuit?
It was called, fuck, man. And now people are yelling at our podcast.
Can you idiot? But have you seen a good example of it?
No, I don't like it because I don't like, first of all, I don't like having to wear an additional appliance on my face.
That's true.
It bothers me, especially because I wear glasses. And I can't watch without them.
Yeah.
So it's glasses on glasses.
Right.
Which already.
Pretty sexy.
So I'm thinking about my face as much as the movie at times. And Avatar, by the way, is the name of the
Avatar,
movie that finally came back. So I don't, anything that's a distraction without adding to the storytelling to me isn't doing its job. At its best, everything in a movie should be there for a reason to tell the story better. And so, if there's anything that is pulling you out of the storytelling and making you think something other than about what's going, if you're thinking about something intruding into your space, into your personal space,
yeah,
it's taking you out of the space that you're supposed to be existing in on screen. As far as I'm sure, I didn't see Avatar in 3D. It seems like
it was better.
It was part of the art direction of it, but it feels like a lot of movies, it isn't. It's shot that way because it doesn't take that much more to shoot it that way.
Yeah.
And you can charge more for the ticket, but most of the time I will choose the non-3D version if it's playing both ways.
I always think about like what's it going to be 40 years from now. But the thing is, it's like my wife shoots on film cameras. She she can shoot digital, but she originally learned on film and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And there's a character to film that is just different. In a lot of ways, I think it's still the best. Still, analog, whatever you call it, film cameras look better than digital. To me, they do.
Yeah.
But that could be is all going to be changing. And at one point, it's like I like that form of two-dimensional. Is it two-dimensional?
Yeah.
But we haven't. I haven't experienced anything else, and it's still a relatively young art form, like 100 years old. The movie business.
Yeah, more than that now, but
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the question is
120 years.
Yeah, the question though is about 3D, and so far it hasn't proven to be. I think it's another tool for any filmmaker to make, and someone's going to make an incredibly effective use of it, I'm sure.
Ow. Well, the thing that I'm sorry, I hit my elbow. When I first did that Wii, did you ever do a Wii thing?
Yeah.
I thought that would be a good thing if they ever made that great. Like really, like you felt like you could bat a ball, or.
Right.
But they have never done that, right? It's not.
I think they have now with VR.
Oh, what is that?
Virtual reality.
I'm interested in that. Are you interested in that?
I mean, I think certainly it's part of the future,
Right.
And I think it'll be part of the future in many arenas. I think there'll be, I think you'll have people doing fucking virtual reality surgery from across the globe at some point,
And then, I'm sorry, your mother-in-law died. I'm across the world using a laser torch.
Sorry.
Asshole.
Had a bad Wi-Fi connection.
Chi-chi. Yeah, well, here's the thing. I think
My
it's
in-flight,
live go-go.
my go-go in-flight conked out during the
Yeah, I'm sorry.
closing.
Yeah. Imagine how I feel. I think, though, it is impossible in a way to predict it's like, I would never say, like in the history of movies, they're not going to say IMAX changed movies, will they?
I mean, it kind of has. I mean, I think this 3D thing, the idea of the blockbuster and
Coming at you.
well, just the idea of the blockbuster now is there has to be that immersive experience that you can't have at home because people's home theaters are so good now, and the
I see.
experience you can have at home is pretty good,
Yes.
It's immersive enough so that you kind of go, do I really need to go to the theater? So the fact that they have IMAX now for big releases and 3D, these are all things that make you want to, make one want to leave their house and actually go to a theater as a night out, as opposed to staying home on their giant TV and going, this is pretty good.
Well, that's why I started to get into the landmark things or the Alamo Drafthouse things. I like the fancy theaters.
Yeah.
I still think the experience of getting out of your house and doing something I have to do more of in general, that will never go away. I don't know why I'm so worried about the movie business going away.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to go
No,
away.
it's not going to go away.
But it's been, it's been perverted into this global audience now.
Yeah.
So that there isn't a lot of room for...
It's harder now, right?
It's harder.
To make a different kind of movie because they're already thinking of...
There's just a class of movies that almost doesn't exist anymore. There's like, the $30 million movie or the $40 million movie barely exists. There's very indie, couple $1 million movies, up to 10 probably. And then there's 100+ movies. But there isn't like a middle class anymore like there once was.
Well, a shout out to Ben Fritz, who's a friend of mine, and he wrote a book based on the leaks that came out when the movie came out. Where it was a Sony.
Yeah,
it was a Sony that got
when the
right.
interview came out.
So and I haven't read his book yet because I'm behind. But I read a review of his book in the New Yorker, and he was talking about how they have to, if they own the whole thing around it, they can make more money. Like they have
the franchise, the intellectual property.
Right.
Yeah.
And so sometimes they can't do, they're always looking to own that, and they're always looking to build a base on it.
Right.
Which will not be for my movies. They're one-offs.
Right. K$B says, apropos of nothing, how clever and hilarious is Bill Maher? Not very.
Oh, you know why? Because I said, like an idiot, I requested. Have you already mentioned?
Oh, apropos of nothing.
Yeah, I said include.
That's why there's a couple
apropos of nothing.
Someone else just put one in. Edgin Bono said, apropos of nothing, have you seen any event ever at the LA Coliseum?
I like the use of it. I did see a show once, the Stones. It was terrible.
I saw a Raiders-Jets game there.
Oh, my God. I would have liked to have seen that. As a Jets fan, as you well know.
When Boomer Esiason was the quarterback for the Jets.
He became such an unpleasant person, that Boomer Esiason.
Larry Morrissey, J. Elvis Weinstein, do you know what the name of your grandfather's store was in Biloxi? I do not know that. He didn't have it for that long. It was just during World War II, I think, that he had the store, because then he moved back to Minneapolis soon after that. And he came from Minneapolis at the beginning of the war, I think. So, So no, I don't know the name of his store. But
wouldn't it be great if he is a follow-up email? I have found a photo of your... Is it your father's store or your grandfather's?
Grandfather's store.
If grandfather in the store in Biloxi. Wouldn't that be something?
It would be. But I wouldn't be able to go, that's it. Larry Morrissey also says from last week's show, I'll take death talk over golf talk if we get a vote.
Well, I think that's the only law. First of all, death talk is always great because you can say something terrible.
Yeah.
And then everything's awkward. But I agree. I would choose death over
golf.
Yeah.
Sure.
The worst sports talk is when I'm basically I haven't been following it, and I'm making you tell me who Boogie is, and it's just that's not the way Stephen A. Smith does it.
No. Ashley Shirley again. Can either of you sew a button?
I can
if I have to,
but not well.
Yeah. I mean, I could get through a night.
I can, but I also made lanyards at camp.
Yeah. Could you do it now?
No. Maybe. I don't think I could do the snake stitch.
And another Ashley Shirley, casual nudity in front of the spouse. Thoughts?
What? Oh, like what do I think of it?
Yeah.
Well, my wife, we're not nudists.
Yeah.
But I do, sometimes we'll walk around in my underwear, it's just because it's comfortable. But it's nothing anyone that likes about it. People are sickened.
But not nude.
No, I don't really like to be nude. Even during sex or while sleeping, I'm usually in a suit. Ha ha. What do you think? What's your take?
I'm not big on the nudity. I will, oh sure, I'll parade around in some underwear.
Have you ever done a silly dance for your wife?
Probably, but it's not part of our regular routine. Tom the Tom. Have either of you had to cut anyone out of your lives due to political differences?
In the past, I have, but not currently. But I have. I know I
God, yeah. You're like, how many friendship enders have you had?
I had a friendship end, and I'm not going to bring any of the details up because my friend said he just has become racist, and I couldn't let it go.
Yeah. The only one I remember I can actually say I ever have is years ago. There was a guy in a comic in Minneapolis who ended up being like a completely bonkers Christian radio host.
But not like Morning Zoo bonkers, right?
No, like yeah.
You will die. You will die if you don't do this.
But we had this big fight about Salman Rushdie when that thing happened.
Oh.
And he was on the side of the fatwa, essentially.
He was pro fatwa?
He was pro fatwa. Because he was a blasphemer.
Well,
so that was an easy argument.
That was an easy argument,
and
yeah.
it did affect our friendship because I just thought it was so fucking ridiculous.
Yeah, and then it seemed like his whole life changed and got weird.
Yeah. That's when I learned this is not a person too.
The thing is that it's never, when they say don't talk about this with certain people, it's almost always true that it doesn't work. Like at family gatherings, we kind of have made a rule. We're just not going to get into it.
Right. I think there's a lot of families across this nation who've had to make that rule in the last couple of years.
But I will not ever say I respect people who vote for Trump, even though I agree with them. I don't respect people who vote for Trump.
No, it's hard to respect.
I mean, I can understand if someone stumbled into it. I'm not saying he should be arrested for it.
All right.
But it's like, I don't really have much respect for someone who says, yeah, well, he has fake news, so I guess that's it. But at one point, the question always is, well, then how do you change these people's minds? I say you don't.
Well, I don't think we need to.
No. We just have to vote them out.
I think we have to vote. I think the amount of people who didn't vote, who would vote with us if they voted,
Yeah, we do it.
is sufficient.
Well, also, I blame people like Nader, and I blame third-party irritants. But I probably shouldn't. I know you're a big H. Ross Perot fan.
Well, there's no,
There's no reason to keep the grudges.
There's no reason to keep the Nader grudge anymore.
Well, there's no reason for me to keep any grudge, and that's why I'm wondering.
No, that's crazy talk.
But why do I, for example, have trouble? I mean, I hope to be just a year from now come in and go, will you get more therapy and you just get better, Josh? Okay? But right now I still can't believe that I let these old things eat at me.
Yeah.
You don't do it that much.
I don't feel like I do.
No.
I'm not very grudgy.
I'm not grudgy. It's more like, well, yes, I am.
You totally are.
I would like to not be grudgy. But I wouldn't mind being a curmudgeon.
No, I'm more of a curmudgeon.
Yeah. You're crotchety. Not really.
I'm a little, yeah. But I don't take any energy. I mean, we've talked about this, I know, but I am not energized by anger. I am exhausted by anger.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people who are energized by anger, but it just takes it out of me and it doesn't give me any buzz.
No, I don't think it gives me any buzz, but it does. The other way gives me buzz is where I go, these people at some point, the worst they can do is kill me, but they, like I'm letting them control my thoughts. I mean, this Trump thing becoming like Hitler, sometimes like it can be, the solution is just turning off the TV.
Right.
But it doesn't make me not worry about it any less.
Well, that was one of the things in my death set at Jen Kirkman's show was talking about my father-in-law on his deathbed watching Fox News.
Oh man, I didn't even know this.
And it's just like, part of it, I guess, was that he didn't accept that he was dying that much. But it's just like, at what fucking point do you turn off the news when you're dying? It's like, at what point do you go, why am I feeding myself with this shit?
Well, was he right wing?
Yeah, he was. He wasn't.
Wow.
He wasn't. We never fought about it because he wasn't in the mood.
Yeah.
But I made fun of him for watching Fox all day, and I'd take shots at him, and he'd laugh, but he wouldn't. He wasn't into fighting, but he was a career Navy man, and
right.
And he was, in his 80s and watching Fox News. It was just like, and also I pointed out he's sitting there watching Fox News while a steady stream of immigrants come in and to take care of him.
A steady stream of him.
Tommy Barcanero wants to know, Josh, can you please do an impression of Marv Albert reacting to LeBron's move to the Lakers? Yes, King James to La La Land. That's all I got.
Did you work on that before?
I did not.
I like that. Yes. Yes.
Yes.
From downtown, yes.
From downtown, yes. The sweet taste of backlash. I always have to throw that in.
Oh, because of his thing? and one. Remember they used to do that?
And one.
I kind of like the guy who held on to Alonzo Mourning's leg that one time.
Jeff Van Gundy.
Yeah. I kind of like Van Gundy.
Yeah, he's a crank.
Is he gone now, Van Gundy?
He's gone from being a coach, but he's a commentator.
Oh, he's still a commentator, yeah. He seems amusing to me.
He is. 80 Morgan, an Australian show I was in, starts in its U.S. season in August on Comedy Central's app. An app is big time, right?
Yeah, you're in. What's the name of the show?
He doesn't say, but it's 80 Morgan. Good luck.
I think I'll watch it.
Perush says, is Andy taking Mr. Weinstein character to England?
I haven't thought about it, but you know what? The British love when we do accents.
They do. Although they try to do American.
You don't think they do it better?
Well, it's always funny when you hear it.
Well, I thought that sometimes when is it Cameron Crowe? No, Russell Crowe. He in that movie where he was A Beautiful Mind.
Yeah.
Just every once in a while, he's like Australian, right?
Yeah.
He's just bad. But the guy who was on The Wire, who's British,
Right.
come on, Stringer Bell. At no point.
And finally,
I like that.
And finally,
Here's something.
Will Pfeiffer, speaking of Bud Abbott, did you know he supposedly had one of the largest pornography collections of his era?
You know what? This show's not working out for me. The podcast was a bad idea. No, actually, to be honest, that creeps me out a little bit.
Lou, you want to go? You're going to look at this horse penis? I'm not going to look at the horse penis. Lou, you're going to look at this horse penis, Lou? I'm not looking at the horse penis. Look at it, Lou. I'm not looking at the horse penis. Look at it, Lou. I'm a bad boy. If you'd like to talk to us during the week.
I don't like the Danny Thomas story. I don't like the Chuck Berry story. I don't like to hear this about my heroes.
You're still getting over Bob Crane.
Bob Crane fascinated me, and that was an interesting move. Autofocus?
I'm a bad boy.
I can't think of Bud Abbott. I just can't think of him as a straight man now. Well, he was, and yet I am intrigued.
Lou, check out this dominatrix. I'm not going to look at the dominatrix.
Lou?
I'm not going to look at it.
Look at it,
I'm
Lou.
not looking
Look at it, Lou.
I'm not going to look at it. I'm a bad boy. Anyway, that's our show.
This show tonight, I want to tell you something. I felt weird. I feel bad that you're going to have to edit it because there's so much great stuff.
There's so much. It's an embarrassment.
Embarrassment of riches.
Something. Give us a write during the week at thoughtspiralshow@gmail.com or follow us on Thought Spiral at Twitter.
And don't forget the big thing coming up.
Please do not forget on July 10th, tomorrow night, if you're listening to this day of.
Well, we could use more. This is when we need people to come.
We need you to come to the Improv Lab tomorrow night, July 10th, and see our live Thought Spiral. And I need you to buy my movie, I Need You to Kill. Actually, you don't even have to buy it. It's streaming on Amazon Prime.
I love it.
And check out our hat and shirt at Zazzle.com.
I'm on the last episode of this year's I'm Dying Up Here.
Which will be the night before this next podcast.
Oh, my God. This is all going to happen for me in July.
It's all happening.
I love you very much. This week, I've been thinking about it all week. And I was thinking, Andy, there's no reason for you to have to every single week try to come up with an ending because so far I have not been successful at coming up with an ending.
Right.
But I'm uncomfortable. I'm uncomfortable that I think we should write a series of endings and just write and work more from the written page, like an old radio play. See, I was hoping that would lead me into.
You were reading that, and I thought you were going to.
Lou, come see my. Lou, have you seen my new collection?
I'm not going to look at your.
Lou,
I've been falling for this before.
No, it's just a regular picture.
I'm not going to look at your pictures.
No, it's a National Geographic.
Oh, okay. I'm a bad boy.